Alright, so what's up guys? So today we got a little garage video. We're going to do an oil change on the XT225. Supposedly the guy I got it from had done an oil change. I've put, I don't know if I had to guess, 500 or 600 miles, not much on it since then, but he gave me an extra filter and oil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I've already loosened up the skid plate bolt. It is a 10 millimeter. It should just be one bolt in the front. We'll wiggle that out of the way. Keep that hardware with the skid plate. So we'll try to do a pretty comprehensive video here, and we'll just skip watching the oil drain. See if I can get down here where we can get a better view. So on the left hand side we've got 19 millimeter. Was on there pretty snug. I've already warmed the bike up and then let it sit for a minute. If you do not warm the bike up, then sediment will not be mixed in with the oil. So you might be leaving a little bit of crud. In the engine. We'll come back after this is drained. Alright, while the oil finishes draining, we'll go ahead and move over here. While that's draining, get your oil filler cap off. You've got 8 millimeter bolts holding on the oil filter cover. I don't know if they're all this way or if it's just my bike, because someone butchered it in the past, but I've got an Allen key right there in the bottom. So again, don't know if they're all that way, or like I said, if someone rounded out a bolt on mine or what. Top left. Top right one I think should be longer. May not be though, based on how the case was cast. My assumption was correct. And that made an absolute mess. Good luck getting that out of there. And we're back. Needle nose pliers should take care of the oil filter. Alright, one very important thing to take note of before we put the new filter in. It's solid on one side, has a hole in the other. Now, I'm not picking it up again, or actually I will. That one doesn't have the rubber piece on the back. So, the reason being, I don't know if you can see that, is inside the engine. So, take note of that when you're changing yours and make sure that that piece comes out, because if that stays stuck behind, you're going to have problems. I'm guessing. I don't know, I'm not an engineer. So this side in first, and there's a little pocket for this inner ring to fit in. So should be able to twist it around and feel that it's in there, and then it's just going to hang down. And we'll get the cover thrown back on. O-ring here looks good, which is fantastic because I don't have another one. Long bolt upper right. short bolt upper left. Snug these down in a cross pattern. Don't run one of them home before you move on to the next ones. And again, don't have a shop manual, so torque spec, most 8mm headed bolts that are being threaded into aluminum. On other bikes I've dealt with and looked up the torque spec for, I think it's around 80 to 90 inch-pounds. I am not going to torque these with a torque wrench. Just do it off feel. I'm a machinist by trade. I don't claim to be a good one, but I am one. And I've just been doing it off feel for, I don't know, the last 20 years, 18 years. But if you were going to torque it, if I was going to torque it, I would go 60 inch-pounds, and if it don't leak, great. That should be plenty tight enough for it to not leak, as long as the O-ring is good and the sealing surfaces are mostly clean. All right, still dripping a little bit of oil, but I'm going to go ahead, get the oil drain cover on. There is a spring that I didn't mention in here. Let me pull that out. And on the end of it, you've got this screen. All right, got that cleaned up. So we'll go back in with the screen and the spring. All right, I wanted to show you a quick error I made that I realized right after I was done. So I installed this screen with the screen portion sticking out the other way. So like this, if the spring's not on there, I slid it in that way. So it just smashed the screen kind of flat, and I guess the spring probably compressed more than it normally would. And then I had installed everything and filled it up with oil, and then immediately realized what I had done. So that's why I'm laid over on my side, so I didn't lose any oil, and remedying this situation. So let that drain for a minute. All right, that full quart has drained. And we're gonna balance the bike straight up and down. And it's reading full, but don't forget we haven't started the engine and circulated oil back into the oil filter. But it is reading full, so whenever you get it reading full, I would go ahead and put the oil filler cap back in, start it, let it run for 45 seconds to a minute, shut it off, let it sit for a minute, stand it up, check it, add oil as necessary, and then also check for any leaks around the oil filter cover and around the drain. So make sure you clean those areas very well, so that way if it's leaking you can tell. And that should finish this job up. Just don't forget to reinstall your skid plate with your 10mm bolt up front. You should be good. We'll catch you on the next one. Don't forget the most important part when you're finished. Go for a ride.